This video is going to share Schluter Kerdi-Board installation tips, and the reason why is, number one, it's super light, it weighs just a few pounds. When you cut it, there's no dust, and you can waterproof a tub shower or a shower surround in one day. So it's a very quick and straightforward installation, yet we continue to get questions about this. So we're going to answer those questions in today's video, and we're going to give you those installation tips. Two things before we start. This is not a Schluter sponsored video. We legitimately get a lot of Kerdi-Board questions via email and on our different platforms. Secondly, we wanted to give you a bathroom repair tutor update. Bathroom repair tutor is our online course that provides detailed step-by-step video tutorials for folks who want to do DIY bathroom remodels or for people who want to get into bathroom remodeling as a business. So we now have over 190 different tutorials that show you step-by-step how to build custom bathrooms and tile showers. So if you're interested in that, check it out down in the description. We'll put a link to Bathroom Repair Tutor down in the description, and we definitely think it could help you out. Kerdi-Board is a foam board. There's a fleece on both sides. So this is the finished side that you should have facing out toward you. And on the back is the same fleece, but it doesn't have any lines on it. Between the two fleece layers is foam. This foam has an R value of 2.2 for half-inch Kerdi-Board, which makes it a great option on outside walls. The foam is also what makes it super light and easy to cut. Obviously, there's no dust with foam. Kerdi-Board can be installed over wood or metal studs. Either one is fine, and you use Schluter screws and washers with a drill or impact driver to do the installation. Schluter all set or unmodified thin set is then applied over the seams and screws, and then Kerdi-Band applied over top of that to waterproof all the penetrations. The great thing about Kerdi-Board is you can set tile on the same day that it's installed. We always get asked about the supplies needed for this kind of project. So it's Kerdi-Board, Kerdi-Band, Kerdi-Fix, all set mortar or unmodified thin set, screws and washers from Schluter, the Kerdi trowel, utility knife level, and drill. It's super important to check all the studs and make sure they're even with each other. So get yourself a 4-foot level or a 6-foot level and check that. They also need to be 16 inches on center. So that's per the Schluter recommendations. The plumbness of all the studs should be checked as well, because if there's any deflection or irregularities in the studs, the board will flex, but that goes with cement board and pretty much any other foam board too. We always set our bathtubs level, but if you didn't set the bathtub and somebody else did, just make sure that it is in fact level, because if it's not, this will affect the draining and the tile work. The other thing that we like about Kerdi-Board is the fact that it has lines on the surface, and this makes cutting it super easy with a utility knife. Here in Pittsburgh, we often encounter really weird walls and wonky shower situations, so using something like Kerdi-Board helps out a lot, because you just fine-tune the cuts with a utility knife and you can get pretty much any shape you want. And if you have a knee wall or a bench, you can use Kerdi-Board over top of that. The screws just need to be 16 inches on center horizontally and 12 inches on center vertically along studs. The screws should also be depressed slightly below the Kerdi-Board. The next step after installing Kerdi-Board is to fill in the seams and the screws using unmodified thin set. In this case, we used Mapei's Kerabond. You can also use Schluter's All Set, which is great. And then we applied Kerdi-Band over top of that and smoothed it out with a drywall knife. Now we also go over top of the Kerdi-Band with a sponge so that the thin set, the excess thin set, doesn't interfere with our tile work. All the screws were filled in with thin set as well. And then one trick we like doing is we hold one side of the Kerdi-Band with our Kerdi trowel and we smooth out the other side with our knife, our drywall knife. And then we sponge over top of that to get a smooth finish. This was a Cape Cod bathroom and the Kerdi-Band kinked in the corner, so we cut it, backfilled it with the Mapei Kerabond, and then just created a patch using an excess piece of the Kerdi-Band. The Kerdi-Band just has to overlap by 2 inches. And then we held the Kerdi-Band in place with our Kerdi trowel and smoothed it out with our drywall knife. One question that comes up a lot is, well, what do you do between the Kerdi-Board transition with drywall? So in this case, we applied our thin set over top of that transition, again, equidistant on the other side of the transition, and then we troweled it with the Kerdi trowel and applied our Kerdi-Band over top of that and smoothed it out with our joint compound knife, and then also sponged it down quite a bit, because either you can use joint compound to smooth that transition, or you can, better yet, tile over top of it. Schluter makes these great mixing valve seals. We don't use them all the time, but if it's a circular mixing valve, we do, and there's a thicker side of it that goes into the wall. So you have to cut a circle out of your Kerdi-Board and then dry fit this before you actually bond it to the Kerdi-Board. So we always recommend doing that, dry fitting. And then we add our thin set,
We trowel it in, we comb it in using the Kerdi trowel, and then we add our mixing valve seal. Now we'll hold one end of the seal with our Kerdi trowel, and then we'll smooth it out with our drywall knife. And then we take our sponge and smooth that down as well. Connecting Kerdi-Board to the tub begins with taping off the tub and using Kerdi-Fix. We cut the tube to a big size, and then we backfill the gap between the Kerdi-Board and the tub. So we're basically just going over top of the tub flange that's connected to our studs. And we're also going along the side of the tub, and in this case where the casing was going to go, because it's a very, very small bathroom. Then we used a 3-inch putty knife to smooth out the Kerdi-Fix and wipe any excess off on a scrap piece of Kerdi-Board, and we also smoothed out that area for our tile. You can also backfill any pipes with the Kerdi-Fix. We immediately applied our Kerabond over top of the Kerdi-Board section. You only have to go up about 3 inches and then comb it in with the Kerdi trowel, and then add Kerdi-Band over top of both the thin set and the Kerdi-Fix. You can cut a little slice into the Kerdi-Band to go over top of the tub spout that's coming out of the Kerdi-Board, and smooth everything out using your drywall knife or Kerdi trowel, and then remove your tape for a smooth finish. So definitely have a smooth finish at this area because you don't want that to interfere with your tile. Another option for connecting Kerdi-Board to the tub is to draw a line on the bottom back of the Kerdi-Board and cut a rabbet into it using a utility knife. So basically a rabbet joint is like a little L joint, right? So you need to cut both on the back and on the foam portion that is exposed on the bottom of the board, because basically what this rabbet is going to do is overhang the bathtub flange. So you just need to cut along the line that you drew and then peel back both the foam and the fleece, because what that'll do is overhang the tub flange, and then you can still apply a little bit of Kerdi-Fix in that gap to seal it to the tub. But this will save you a tremendous amount of money and a tremendous amount of Kerdi-Fix.
Give us a thumbs up if you like the tips in this video, and keep in mind we have several video tutorials that show you how to install Schluter Kerdi-Board, so those might come in handy for your project. Thanks for watching today's video, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.